Okay, I do have plenty of room. The nuts are not in the way. The wheel turns without hitting the nut head. Well, what do you think of that bike ride? That's right. Well, this was the bike before I got started. And I found it at a garage sale. The front tire was flat. The guy says, yeah, you're going to need a new tire. I said, how about tire patches? He looked at me like, huh? So I put a patch on the inner tube and away we went. Did I tell you I got it for 20 bucks? That's right. It even has the original tag on the front of it. And apparently he paid $249.99, 250 bucks. He paid for this bike. He said it was a few years old, but like I say, the front tire was flat. The one thing people don't realize is how hard these things are to actually pedal, so I'm going to take care of that today. And I have a donor sun gear. I'm going to take the biggest gear off, and I'm going to attach it to the other one here. This is a single speed. Unfortunately, that's what everybody does. They buy the cheap one. I'm going to take this off, bolt it to that, put the chain up, we'll see how well that works. So I'll show you the sun gear. This is off of an old bike. I didn't even take it apart. I think it was a brand new part. It's just been laying around for years. But there's 6 gears on it. I want the biggest one. I believe they're made as one. I don't know. Maybe they come apart. But anyway, I'm going to try and take this apart and see if I can get that big gear. And I'm going to attach it to the gear that is there. That's the plan anyway. Okay. I'm not going to lie. It was not pretty. But I did get it apart. What I did is I ground off the piece on the back here that held it all in place. Then I see each of these drop down to a piece that will spin off, but I don't have that tool, so I don't care. But I'm going from a 20 tooth on the bike to a 42 tooth on the back of the bike. That should give me a good low range for climbing. If that's too low, I've got the next gear. I think that's an 18 tooth. But we'll see how this all works out. I'm going to take the sprocket off the other bike and see how I can drill into the sprocket holes of the existing one that's on there, get that lined up and bolt it in. I don't really want to weld it because I'm not sure which tooth I want. If I can bolt that, put a bolt with a nylock in, we should be good to go. We're going to test that out anyway. Alright, that's the gear. I'm wanting to put this other gear on. You can see it's pretty small, but this is the low gear on a 10 speed. It looks like maybe right inside the 3 holes there I'll be able to put a couple of nylocks in each. I like that. It is low profile enough. I think it'll fit in there and the chain will still ride it. That should give me a good granny gear. This is not a race bike. It is going to be a low-speed sand racer where you can drive through the sand without killing yourself. At least that's the plan. So we'll go down town now that I have that off and buy me some bolts of the correct size here and get the nylon locked nut and I'll show you what that is so you understand it. They don't come loose with general driving, and since the chain's going to be rattling on that, it will knock it loose if it's not a nylock. Okay, I was lucky. The sprocket happened to match every third hole in this sprocket, so I was able to be very careful cutting that, drilling that, and there is a little bit of an indent, and I put the indent inside the hole and everything lined up nicely. So when I lay that back in the bike, I can have that indent down, and the line should, for the chains, should be in the right spot again. I wanted to talk to you about the nylon nylock nut. So I've got a machine screw. These are 1/2 inch. I got washers. I had to drill them out just so I had a good tight one. That's a fender washer. And then the nylock, you see there's nylon. That's why it's called a nylock. And I'm hoping I have enough room. So this threads on easy until you get to the nylock. I'm hoping I have enough room between the arm of the bicycle, or I'll have to turn it down towards the spokes. And that's what we're going to find out next, which way I can connect that and it'll all fit. So I'll try that and we'll be right back. Okay, I've got it all put together. Now these washers, I bought them just in case, and putting them on, the nylock wouldn't catch. I don't have these tight yet, but I did put it all together, and we'll put it on the rim and see which direction before I tighten everything up, whether I have that the right way, wrong way, anyway. Now I am snugging these up in a cross pattern. So I go across to the other one, and then I'll start the next one, and I'm just snugging, I'm not getting them tight. Go across to the other. Okay, I got all of them snugged. I'll give them a little bit more, doing the cross pattern again, just to make sure we've got it all. And I did find out that I have to have the nut away from the spokes. So the Phillips head screw will be towards the rim, and these will be towards the outside of the bike. And you see the nylock is the bolt was just long enough, and that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want it any longer. I would have had to grind it off. That's why I wasn't able to use a washer. I bought the washers just in case I needed it, but I didn't. And everything bolts up. I've got 6, so it should be good and strong. It shouldn't, with all the vibration of the chain, it shouldn't back any of those off, but I will keep an eye on it. So I'll lay that on the rim and we'll try this out. So I put the little pin back on to hold the sprocket in place. Everything rolls nicely. We'll just make sure this doesn't touch the other side, but looking at how far away it is from the metal tail that comes in, I think it'll be fine. I am going to have to get another chain though, because the chain's going to be way too short. But I have a new 10-speed chain, so they're extra long, so I'll show you how to take the chain apart and make your own link. You don't have to buy any links. My dad taught me that. Okay, I do have plenty of room. The nuts are not in the way. The wheel turns without hitting the nut head. I'm liking that. Now I did put on the other crank arm or pedal arm, So I do have 3 speeds here. I do have it on the lowest, and the chain fit the way it was. I'm going to test it out with the low. I may want to go to the medium with that 24, but I want to see what speeds I can get out of this. Obviously I'm going to have a couple different chains if I want to change my mind, but let's see how this works. Whew. Well, I'm back from my 3/4 mile ride, and it's up and down through the woods, and it's probably the best I've felt for the speed that I want to go. It's not going to win a race, but I think it'll be good in the sand. It is on low, so if you had the 10 speed, it is on the low range front sprocket and on the second to the last on the back. And it seems to be perfect. I'm having a birthday today, and I'm almost 65, which means I'm only 64. But for me, I think that's going to work. I haven't been on a bike probably in about a year since it started raining last fall. It's been less than a year, but that's the best I've ridden that fat tire bike yet. So I'll show you how it works. I'll say now, sorry about all the road noise, and no, I don't have a microphone, so you'll just have to see how well that works. Slow enough, you have control. There's gravel and grass. Like I say, it's not going to win a race, but for an old timer like me, it might be going to save your butt if you went and bought one of these single speeds. So try it out.